and real estate will will feature out there in those discussions, because that's what we are talking about, the Mumbai real estate market. It's a very interesting report that KnightFrank has come out, and Pranay Vakil, chairman of KnightFrank, joins us right now in our studios to talk about that. Good having you, Mr. Vakil. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, the question that most people would ask, that, of course, the quantum of 1.4 lakh crore rupees of unsold inventory is fairly large, but may not be the exact quantum, but a large portion of this or percentage of this has happened in the past. The Mumbai real estate doesn't seem to crack. What's your belief? What will happen this time?
Let me clarify to start with. A, we are talking only of residential market. We are not talking of any other market.
Perfect.
Right? So let's focus on that. Now, the valuation that you talked about, which you picked up from our report, is at current market values. They are not at cost. So it is not hurting the developer as much as you might think it will.
Sure.
Because the market value is market value. Now, all of these developers, at least 50% of them, are in joint venture with the landowner. Have they paid for the land? The answer is no, or very partially. Right? Now, when you haven't paid for the land, and the land constitutes sometimes 70% of the sale price, your ability to hold on, is infinite.
Sure.
Is really long, right? So, the two things. The other thing is that the funding that comes through is only for the construction cost. It's never given for land. Now, you haven't paid for the land, so it's not hurting, right? Yes, the interest costs have gone up, but that affects only the construction. And in this residential segment that we're talking about, as long as you booked or sold, you are able to take money against it. Sometimes you have a negative working capital situation. What that means is that you've recovered more than what you spent on that particular project, not counting the land. Okay. So therefore, I mean, it has to result into some pain for you to reduce the price, and that pain is not big enough for you to do that. Now that explains, I don't know, in the very general terms, why the prices haven't come down.
Okay, and we need to, before we ask the next question to Mr. Vakil, just need to look at the charts of some of these real estate companies. Mind you, they haven't been at their lows, because the last month and a half or 2 months, aside of course the fact that DLF has done well, some of the Mumbai-based realtors, Orbit, HTIL, pull up an Indiabulls Real Estate, for example, they've had a fairly decent run, Godrej Properties or an Oberoi Realty. So they've had a fairly decent run, which probably just gives out the fact that they're not in as much of pain. But Mr. Vakil, that's the other confusing part, because we keep on hearing every now and then about real estate companies in Mumbai particularly. I don't know about the other regions, but in Mumbai, borrowing 30, 40, 50 crore rupees or 100 crore rupees at interest rates of some 36% or northwards. That's strange. If the builder or the real estate developer is not in pain, why would he do this?
Well, this normally happens end of quarter. Why end of quarter? Because some loans are falling due for repayment. And this is not the total funding which is taking place at 36%. This is just bridging finance or a marginal finance. When you borrow 2,000 crores and you need 100 crores to pay the interest, I mean, that's what is borrowed at this really high rates, not the entire project. You cannot afford to borrow at that rate and stay alive.
Sure.
Right. Just coming down to the hard numbers. I mean, 1.4 lakh crores is the stated number in your report about of unsold inventory. So who will blink first, and how will this? Firstly, where is this unsold inventory blocked right now in the region of Mumbai? And who do you think, how will the events pan out in terms of who will blink first on the pricing front?
Let me tell you a reason on why people don't buy. What is holding them back? There are only 3 reasons why people don't buy. If they expect the prices to come down, they will obviously put their buying on hold, right? The second thing is that the interest rate is hurting them. And the third is that they have no confidence in the developer that the developer will deliver the product that he's paying for. Now, if you address these 3 issues, you will have revival of demand. Okay? Now, how do you address an issue like, will the prices fall? All right? In the buyer's mind, a 5 or 10% fall in price is not going to put him off. But when he sees that the prices might fall more than that, he will put his buying on hold. Because his stamp duty and other expenses are about 10% anyway.
You think that will happen, Mr. Vakil, at over a 10% drop in Mumbai real estate?
I mean, we're seeing that happen. We saw it even earlier, let me tell you. We've been proved wrong before. It's the elasticity that we're talking about of the developers, ability to hold on. I've explained to you how that land component plays a big role in this. But as long as that capacity is there to hold on, they will not.
You think this
Let
time
me
the
also
capacity
tell
is
you,
there?
I'll just take a minute to tell you about what happens when you reduce the price. Because you may have sold part of the project. Those guys are not going to pay you the difference.
Of course.
In fact, they'll come back and ask you for that rebate. Even with a registered document, developers have had a problem. So therefore, the last thing they will do is reduce the price. They might freeze it, they might do it clandestinely, they might throw in the parking free, they'll pick up the stamp and registration. All of that will happen. But a straightforward outright reduction in the price is the absolute last resort that a developer will take.
You're not giving good news to a lot of people out there who are planning to buy homes and are waiting for prices to come down. You think 6 months down the line things could change? I mean, there would be some pressure points which would come in, because you can't have buildings and buildings of residential projects with nobody staying in.
Right. Water has to find its own level, right? But you will find a disparity between completed projects and under construction projects. You will find that completed projects will get sold, where somebody is able to pay the money and take delivery, yes, he will buy it. But if you're asking him to book something under construction, the 3 factors that I told you come into play, and they then want to wait and watch. They are willing to pay a premium, believe you me. They're willing to pay a premium for a completed project because there are no ifs and buts left.
Okay, one final word, Mr. Vakil. Have you by any chance looked at which of the developers, if at all, I don't know if you can name, but if at all you can, because it's a report, where is there the highest portion of unsold inventory? Just wondering.
Well, we have named, we have not really named, but we've taken 5 developers. And you must have seen in a report that their borrowing position and the unsold stock position. And if you see what they have to repay is exactly half, or little less than half of the unsold inventory that they have. Now, this unsold inventory is a finished product that we talked about. And yes, you can sell this product and really set off the debt which you have. We're talking of the 5 top developers in Bombay.
Great, Mr. Vakil. As Tanveer said, probably not the best of news for a lot of people who are wanting to buy a flat, but you never know. 5–10% could be the order of the day over the next 6 months as well. Thanks so much for joining us in our studios and giving us your views, Mr. Vakil.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking the time out. That's a very important voice on, well, real estate in general, but Mumbai real estate in particular, the chairman of KnightFrank. Take a break on that note. Come back, talk about some real estate stocks, stock recommendations from Deepak Mohani, and some commodity-based stocks as well.